puts you in a good mood, doesn't it, Andy?
Yeah.
I saw you dancing. I saw you getting ready. Also, I love that before we recorded this show, we're supposed to go live at 3:15, but Kevin was like, "Oh, sorry, we're gonna let's do 3:30 instead." Totally fine. But I tell the rest of the group, and Andy just backs out. Like he doesn't even say
Not
bye.
even a
He
goodbye.
doesn't even like. I
Not
was like,
even
"Oh
a
yeah, so we can
fucking
come back
goodbye.
whenever."
I said bye.
Oh,
hear
did
you.
you?
Unless my mic was muted. Unless my mic.
Okay.
It might have been
Yeah,
muted.
literally, me, Joey, and Nick are sitting here having a conversation, talking. Andy pops in for a second. I'm like, "Oh, by the way, Kev's gonna be a little late." And he
Kevin's
just
coming in.
leaves.
Yeah, it just
Immediately.
Fuck you, losers.
No, I was definitely
Perfect.
like, oh, okay, all right, so yeah, see you then. And then I
Yeah.
just like left. But I think my mic was muted. But it was the perfect opportunity because I needed to fill up my Brita water.
Hell yeah.
I'm glad.
Straight
That's
water
actually a really
source.
smart move to have the Brita water filter just there, like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
thing just there. It's smart.
Then it gets all warm. Whatever.
But
This
I
is
don't mind it,
Pixar in
It's
review,
always
where
chilly.
each and every week we rank and review the Pixar movies. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by the Nitro Rifle, Andy Cortez.
I can't match your lights right now, Tim. Kevin, I updated to the newest version of Android, and now my Bluetooth's all busted. And they warned me that things might be busted, but I just didn't trust them. And
You don't have a hub?
it's got it with my iPad. I'm controlling it with my iPad, but
You don't
yeah,
have a
I don't
hub,
have the
bro?
hub. Yeah, we'll talk about it later. Kevin.
We have hella hubs. Me and Tim, I think, each have like 8 hubs.
Hub it up, baby. That's the big
Hub
dog.
it up.
We'll
Kevin
hub you.
Koala.
We'll give you a hub.
We'll hub you anytime you
I'm
want.
gonna hub
Andy.
the hell out of you.
Anytime.
Thank you.
That very, very trepidatious laugh is from one Christmas in May, Joey Noel.
Bring back Bizarre you know?
Yeah, dude.
reboot it.
Bizarre Vark. I didn't know it existed until this weekend, but you know what? Bring it back. Bring it back. And of course, the producer/seducer, Nick Scarpino.
Hello, ye all. If you ye the faith, you gotta ye the destiny, Tim.
Uh-huh.
Got it. Now I know where you're getting at. Yep,
Ye
yep,
all. I
yep.
forget what's the quote? You can't change your fate, your destiny.
If you could change your fate, would you? That was in the
Oh,
trailer.
wow, I really got that totally
If
wrong.
you could have changed your fate, would you?
Anyone
would you
can
fucking
cook.
change it if you could?
Anyone can cook. Like I said, this is Kind of Funny's Pixar in Review, where each and every week we rank and review 2 different movie franchises. Right now, we are doing Pixar and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You can watch them on youtube.com/kindafunny or roosterteeth.com. If you want to listen to it, search your favorite podcast service for Kinda Funny in Review, and we'll be right there for you. If you want to get the show ad-free, just like our Patreon producers, Michael G and Tom Bach did, you can go to patreon.com/kindafunny. But if you want to do that, you're going to have to listen to our ad for Babel that we're going to give later in this episode. But for now, let me tell you all about the movie Brave, a runtime of 1 hour, 33 minutes, released on June 22nd, 2012. It's the first movie to use Dolby Atmos sound system. The new system expands from the 5 to 7.1 channel sound mixes to 64 discrete speaker feeds and 128 simultaneous and lossless audio channels.
Way too many.
Get hyped, baby. Woo!
That is way too many.
lossless channels.
The human head can't even
Can't we understand
differentiate.
Human
all that.
head.
Yeah.
Directed by Mark Andrews and Brenda Chapman. This one's kind of interesting here. So Mark Andrews was the story supervisor for The Incredibles. He is also the father of Maeve Andrews, who voiced Jack in The Incredibles.
Oh.
And Brenda Chapman, an American writer, storyboard artist, and director. In 1998, she became the first woman to direct an animated feature from a major studio, DreamWorks Animation's The Prince of Egypt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, exactly. In 2012, she co-directed Brave with Mark Andrews, becoming the first woman to win the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature. Chapman conceived the project and was announced as the director of the film, making her Pixar's first female director. In October 2010, however, she was replaced by Mark Andrews following creative disagreements between her and John Lasseter. When asked whether she will return to Pixar, Chapman responded by saying she has no desire to go back there, feeling that, quote, the atmosphere and the leadership doesn't fit well with me. So kind of a bittersweet story there.
Well, I mean, more importantly, I'm looking here, and some of the story of Beauty and the Beast she helped on, and what she was a story supervisor on The Lion King. She also
Rescuers
worked on the
Down
story
Under.
of The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Little
Wow,
Mermaid.
like she's got credits, dude.
Credits for
Good for her.
days.
Chicken Run.
Also, come on, guys.
Chicken Run, great
Prince
film.
of Egypt.
And then I knew I was like,
right.
I was upset, Kevin, that I brought up
Alright.
Prince of Egypt
I
when you were
heard it.
away from the mic. Because the
Great
only
film.
thing Kevin likes more than Prince of Egypt is the road to El Goddamn Dorado. Ain't that right?
I mean, DreamWorks has done a lot of trash, but not
They
these
have.
2 fucking movies.
They have.
Not these 2 movies.
Kevin,
You know what I mean?
Kevin, can you remember the time and place you were when you saw that goddamn Red Sea being split in two, and then you see the shadow of the whale through the lightning when the lightning strikes, and you see the whale swimming along the wall of the water.
Oh.
The coolest imagery that any fucking like 10-year-old could see in their lives. Like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. It's right there. That's the best thing ever. It's
There
so
it is.
cool.
Get it, Brenda.
So cool.
Give the award to Brenda for everything, especially that whale. The music was done by Patrick Doyle, a Scottish film composer, known for Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Thor, and Brave.
Okay.
Pretty interesting.
I like it.
A little out of their wheelhouse for their typical composers, but they obviously wanted to hit with that Scottish theme for everything.
I heard they actually tried Randy Newman, and they were like, "This categorically does not work. It doesn't work." You
they're like, okay,
people. No, Randy, stop. Randy, stop.
they went through all the Newmans and they're like, "This just isn't gonna work."
It's
You know what I mean? It's not gonna
change your feet.
A budget of $185 million and a box office of $540.4 million,
Oh, wow.
making it the third highest grossing animated movie of 2012 after Ice Age, Continental Drift, and Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted. It is, however, the highest grossing animated non-sequel of 2012. So there you
That's
go.
much higher than I would have guessed. I don't know why I was expecting to hear that this was a kind of a box office bomb. That's what I would have predicted.
I mean, it's not a great movie, you know?
Well,
No, but
the
I mean,
awards
it's-
would say otherwise because it did win the Academy Award for Best
Yeah, we've already
Animated
decided
Feature
that's a
Film.
scam, you know what I mean?
Sorry, Ice Age, Continental Drift, and Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted. But this one was Braves to win. So it won the Best Animated Feature, and yeah, obviously that's great for Miss Brenda Chapman.
Oh no, I'm sure. Yeah, no, I'm
What
not
else
saying that
won
it
that
has to
year?
make money to be good or whatever. But yeah, I was expecting. For some reason, I was expecting like, yeah, not a whole lot of return on this one. But I'm good for this movie back in 2012.
And Andy, some fun stats specifically for you. 2 additional software programs were specifically developed for this movie by Pixar in a span of 3 years. One of them allowed simulation of Merida's 1,500 strands of hair curls to move together with her movements.
Love that.
I would have
Love
guessed
that.
way more for the strands.
They were
That's crazy.
gorgeous. They were absolutely gorgeous.
Absolutely. But
Now,
only
the last thing I
1,000
got
of
for
them,
you
come on.
here is this is the first Pixar Animation Studios movie to feature a female protagonist. Princess Merida is also the only Pixar character to be included in the official Disney princess line. Merida is the first Disney princess to not have a love interest, and she's the first Disney princess to not be based on any pre-existing literary character or historical figure. One of the motivating things of this movie and her was to really take a look at the Bechdel test, which we've talked about before. The idea of it's a measurement of the representation of women in fiction. It asks whether a work features at least 2 women who talk to each other about something other than a man. That is literally all it needs to do to qualify is passing the test.
No, isn't
It
that
seems
one
like a
factor of
very
it?
that's it. People have then added that the requirement is that the 2 women must be named characters. But
It can't
even
just be
taking
like
that out,
yeah.
it is still very rare that movies hit that passing the test. So going forward on In Review, I'm going to add this to the little facts at the beginning to see if it passes or not, just because it'll surprise you how often movies don't. But this movie very, very, very much does, and that was kind of the point going into it, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Let's start off with what we think about it. Nick Scarpino, let's start with you.
I enjoyed it. I think that you can kind of understanding that there was a director shift in the middle of this kind of makes a lot of sense now because this movie feels like it wasn't as tight as it could have been. But I found myself really enjoying all the characters. I really liked the 3 little brother characters, especially when they pop off as bears. I'm like, all right, let's go. This movie's great. And I think it's stunningly animated. It's pretty straightforward. It doesn't overstay its welcome as far as length is concerned, and I think it's interesting. It's definitely a legend or a fable that I hadn't particularly known before. So I enjoyed watching it.
They made it up,
Joey.
right?
I assume as much, yeah. Either that or my mid-century Scottish, or not mid-century, but like 16th century Scottish folklore is not where it used to be.
Joey.
Yeah, I feel like this is kind of one of the Pixar movies that I've had seen once and like never really gone back to. I like it. I think it's fine in terms of Pixar. I don't think it's one of my favorites by any stretch. It is interesting, and I was thinking about as I was watching it that it was, I don't know if it was because it's like kind of more, it's like a princess story, but it's kind of the only princess story that's in Pixar, right?
Mhm.
And so I was just like, oh, that's interesting that they would have chosen to go in like a Pixar direction instead of like Disney Animation Studios that kind of tends to handle those kinds of storylines.
Tangled and whatnot.
Yeah, even like Princess and the Frog and like all of that stuff. I thought that the brothers were in it way more in my memory, that they were like a fun little thing, but they're like kind of not in it. I wish they were in it more, which I guess is kind of the better side of the line to end up on with like those side characters, because I feel like very often you can just get too much of them and then you don't really love them. Yeah, this was the first one where I was like, oh, this is like fine. It wasn't like any better or worse than I remembered it being. It's just kind of like exists for better or for worse. But yeah, it is, I think, one of the most pretty. I think it's like a lot of the like the way that they did the coloring and stuff like that, especially with her hair and all of like the dark foresty stuff, I think is really fun.
Andy, I saw you nodding along. What do you have to say?
I mean, I'm feel like we all might be on the same page here. I think it's a good ass movie. Nothing too special. I saw this movie a long time ago, probably around when it came out, and I totally forgot that this movie had sort of magical properties to it. I don't know why I thought it was just going to be a coming of age tale about a sort of princess who doesn't want to live that life and who wants to break tradition. But as soon as the wisps pop up and the witch, I was like, oh, cool. This is gonna have like some sort of fantastical elements to it. I think it's fun. The three brothers are adorable. I think young Merida is like the most adorable fucking thing ever. Like just this little girl with gigantic hair, so cute, just kind of running around. I love the sense of family that there is. I love the father and the mom. I think they just play really great off of each other. And then all the goofy sort of tribes people, like I think it's just such a silly thing, and also a weird thing that you kind of forget. We're so far off with Merida and her mom and dealing with that sort of A plot, and then you kind of go back to the B plot, and they're still in the castle, and they're all fighting over who's gonna be able to marry Merida. It's just like, oh yeah, they're still here. I forgot that this was still going on.
I like how it progresses though. It comes back and they're all fortified
in their own corners of the
they're
wall,
all just like throwing sticks at each other.
Otherwise, it's cute. Again, I don't think it does anything too special like any of the other Pixar movies would have, like WALL-E, the Deserved #1 movie. But I think it's great. I think it's a good movie, and I think it's well deserved. I'm looking at the sort of Metascore and IMDb score, and they're all around 7 out of 10, and I think that's kind of perfect. I think it's a good, serviceable movie with good acting and a moment near the end that still kind of makes my eyes tear up a little bit when we get the moment we see the mom and the daughter. I think it's so cute.
I just want to say I agree with Andy. WALL-E should definitely be #1.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't think that was the point of his statement.
No, well, I mean that's what he said though. I just want to say that's the part I agree with.
Just a kind of
everything else, I don't know.
He's a fucking idiot. He's wrong.
No, but like this movie didn't do much for me at all. Where like I don't know if I've ever watched it all the way to the end, and I feel like I realized that yesterday where I was. It's such a it's kind of a dud for me. Where it's the overall storyline, I feel like it's very generic, and they that last scene that Andy's talking about, where they where it's like scary because she isn't transforming into a bear. I feel like that's super forced and just for the dramatic effect. Like it didn't make any sense for like the magic to not have kicked in at that point. So I don't know. This movie just doesn't do much for me. It's kind of like
Kevin, but that's like the bomb going off with Mission Impossible Fallout,
No,
Think about
100%.
that moment.
Yeah, 100%. But that's different. Like I don't go to Mission Impossible to see emotional moments. I was happy there was one there, but it's for me. This is weird that Pixar this is movie #2, and I wasn't here last week to talk about Cars 2, but it's one of those where it's like, the heart just didn't feel like it was fully there, and it might have been because they have a director change, but. The story just seemed really, really basic, and there's cute moments like the when she's young, when the little kids are running around, but it didn't do a good job getting my attention. I found this one actually kind of hard to watch just because it was All right.
Also an hour and a half.
I've seen
though.
Brother
That's great.
Bear. I've seen Brother Bear already. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't
What?
know what
Talking
point
about
you're
this
trying to
Brother
make with
Bear.
that one, but
it's the same story. It just
I-
turns into a bear.
are you a
It
Brother
turns into
Bear
a
fan?
Yeah, aren't you? The ending of Brother
Love
Bear a
it.
lot stronger than the end of this piece of shit. You know what I'm
I need
saying?
to Google
Brother
it.
Oh,
Bear.
it's a piece of shit now.
Yeah, I hate it now. And he's fucking dumb. Except for the Wally thing. You nailed that.
Yeah. Good movie.
Yeah,
Is
well,
his
with the
bear a
exception
brother in
of-
this? I don't understand.
I guess where Kevin's at. I think that this is it's a very good movie, and it just isn't a very good Pixar movie. And I hope that I stop saying that sometime soon, because it's like we went from just being like, damn, which one's number one? We need to fight about this, to like, oh, okay, where in the lower parts of the rankings is this one going to
Right,
fall?
where's
But
it gonna
again,
go?
I do think that this is a significant step up from Cars 2, in the sense that it doesn't have anything egregiously wrong with it. Like it works throughout the entire movie. I was engaged. An hour and a half's not bad. And, we've said the words generic a couple times. And I think that, yeah, a lot of this is, I guess I never really thought that I wanted to see a Pixar's take on the Disney princess. And if we were to have that, I hope that it would have been a little bit more progressive and a little bit more interesting and fresh than what this movie ended up being. Which really, if this was just, this was a Disney princess movie, I'd be like, okay. Like, nothing about this screams Pixar to me, with the exception of the animation quality and the backgrounds and characters, all the designs, all of it. It is gorgeous. It is beautiful. But, especially around this time, Disney was also coming up and doing very, very beautiful 3D animation as well. I don't remember exactly when Tangled came out, but it was around this time. And then they'd go on to do Frozen, et cetera, et cetera. But this feels more to me in that realm of movie than the rest of the Pixar ones. I didn't really get emotionally attached to the characters, and those moments, I bought it for making sense in terms of the plot. I'm with Kev that final moment to try to, like, last ditch effort get you to cry kind of felt like it was a last ditch effort trying to get you to cry. But I didn't find it egregiously bad. I was just kind of like, this is kind of taking me out instead of pulling me in. And that's never a good thing with that type of movie. But I will say, for all the kind of genericness of it all, and like, okay, there's elements of Mulan, there's elements of Beauty and the Beast, there's elements of Aladdin. It's like you can literally see a greatest hits best of the Disney Princess 90s movies in this movie. As it goes on, the end scene, like the end fight scene with the mom fighting the bad bear and all that stuff, and all the villagers around like kind of being involved, I was hyped, dude. I was in, and I was like, hey, this movie did a good job to get me excited about this fight scene in a Pixar movie, which is, I think, kudos to them for managing that, because I didn't really expect it. And Merida going through and pulling the bow and arrow to like pass the test for herself. So much of it is like you can call from a mile away. But I thought it was executed well, where I was like, yeah, but that's what good storytelling is sometimes, when it just works and makes sense. And I think this movie, for the most part, that's what that is. But again, I feel like it's more Disney than Pixar, and take that for what it's worth.
Yeah, I think it's difficult to kind of judge it, though, because going back to 2012, I think this would have made much more of an impact for me, like as far as their level of progressiveness. Obviously, like one of the biggest criticisms of early Disney princess work is that they always need a man. Like, it's all about getting a man, right? And so this is like one of the I don't know if it was one of the first movies, but it's one of the first ones that I can remember that's about saying, hey, no, I'm independent. I don't need that. That's not what defines me. I can go seek out my own fate and be my own person. But then you think about this, and then you think about Frozen coming out a year later, and you're like, oh, Frozen just seems like it's way more of an interesting and way more of a unique take on that genre than this is. Even though I do give them kudos for broaching the topic and broaching that subject matter.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it's just like conditioning based off of other like Disney princess movies, but the fact that it didn't have music, like any sort of musical element, I think is kind of, for me, what made it feel like a little bit like lackluster. And I think that's just probably because that's the formula I'm used to of like, oh, if it's like some sort of princess movie, there's like a musical element to it for the most part. So without that, I felt like it was kind of missing something, but that doesn't mean that I guess they all have to have that.
Yeah, the thing I liked least about the movie was the mom
As
caught
the bear.
between being yeah. I mean, honestly, that's what it
as a
is.
bear
'Cause it's
was
like,
the worst part.
So much of it, like I get what they were going for, but the mom as a bear, the rules they followed didn't always feel consistent, and I feel like they never really fully gave us cool uses of the mom losing control. Like I always kind of felt like we're in control, it's going to be okay. There was never a moment of actual fear of anyone's danger at the moments. And like, you know, there's the whole concept of like, man, the dad might have to go kill the mom. That's pretty intense. And like that moment did work for me, like I said earlier. But I think just throughout the rest of the movie, like when they're fishing together, the mom's always just like her mom wasn't acting like a human being in a bear. She acted a lot stupider. And I don't like when they do that to characters, when they like, clearly it's supposed to be this human being's brain in a different body, but like, because they're not speaking, they're now dumber than they used to be. And again, it just took me out of it, which I feel like they were so close to nailing more often than not.
Yeah, she definitely becomes a lot more cartoony when she's in bear form, and when they're sitting there having the little dinner and she's trying to eat the blueberries, and then it's like those are poisonous, and she becomes like very cartoony. But I disagree. I think the first time that she slips back into just full bear and is looking at Merida, and you get that moment like, oh fuck, the eyes look different now, and suddenly she's pissed and she's about to swipe at her ass, and then kind of like comes to. I think that first moment worked really well, and I kind of wanted more of that.
That's what I'm saying, though. Sorry, like the first time worked, but there was no scary time after that.
Got it. Okay.
Like it was kind of, they introduced this element and then didn't really do anything cool with it, because it's like, yeah, that is a scary thing that your mom is like losing control of herself and could hurt you or the people around you. But then it's like they never really go back to that.
Yeah, the second time it happens, they are in the room already with her, and the bear is more kind of frightened of her when the dad is looking for her. You know, there's that moment where they're in the room and she becomes full bear, and then it just kind of like, I expected her to be mad. I expected for her to say like, why the fuck am I in this room? I'm freaking out. I'm going to lash out and just kind of go crazy. But it was more of, you know, what we always see when bears get really scared and people like stand up and yell at them or whatever. That's like the type of bear she became. But the animators did a great job, I think, of just sort of, like it's how bears look. Good job, animators.
Yeah, I think just in general, like I found myself a lot more interested in her trying to compete for her own freedom and for her own freedom of choice than when the bear stuff kicked in. The bear stuff felt like very much like this is something that I would have seen in like the 90s. And her like actually stepping up
like
and finding the
Freaky
loophole.
Friday or something.
Well, you know, just it just seemed like to a lot of our points that it was just sort of a little bit more on the generic side, whereas, you know, a princess competing for herself to be in charge of her own destiny, and have her own independence because she's learned all these skills from her father is actually a pretty cool and compelling story. But that was over at like, you know, 15 or 20 minutes into the movie. She just cracks off the arrows hella fast, and I was like, oh, I would have liked to have seen there be like a gauntlet of things she had to go through, and this movie be about that, because to me that would have been like, I think that's kind of cooler. But I do like that. I like the idea that the mom, they're thrust into this crazy situations that they have to see each other from in their own, you know, worlds basically. And her mom comes around, and then she comes around realizing she's been selfish, even though I don't think she's being selfish at all. She has that. I mean, she is a little selfish by poisoning her mom with the cake from a woman she just met. But at the same time, it's like, I don't see the mom's perspective as much as I see her perspective, which I think is maybe one of the bigger faults of the film, right?
Yeah.
Because the mom's like, hey, you're going to start a war if you don't get married. But from our perspective, living in, 2021, we're like, well, but you shouldn't be forcing your daughter to marry anyone. Like, this seems just completely and totally like backward, which I know is sort of the point of it, but it's difficult to see the mom's perspective in it.
It's tradition, man.
See, I felt like totally opposite as I was watching it. I was like, it's very clear that you need to like get married, I just thought that she was such a selfish character. It was hard to, I don't know, relate with her, I guess, where it was just kind of like, do your duty. Like, you are a princess.
Damn,
but like
fall
that
in line, Kevin says.
Well, I mean, but like the reality is that like her not falling in line means the possibility of these 4 clans going to war, right? And that means a lot of death on every side. And like that really sucks. So I don't know. I felt like the entire time it's like, dude, she's being such a dick. And I know that at least part of that was that like it was meant for you to feel that way.
Yeah,
like,
she had to grow up as well.
There was a big part
that's
like
part of her character.
Yeah, but then it like flips at the end where the mom is kind of like, oh, you can choose who you're gonna marry, and it's like, well, I mean, it's cool that everyone like agreed with that, but like that's not the reality.
Totally
of life.
fine with it, and no one had ever brought it up before.
Yeah. Like the speech that she gave, which was like Pictionaried by the mom, like wasn't a good speech. It was just
No,
a
me and Gia talked about that. It was a horrible speech, but it was an
funny.
amazing speech via charades. Like, good for them. That was pretty eloquent.
No, but you know what I'm saying? Like that wasn't a good speech. Like at the end of that speech, I wasn't won over.
Moved.
Yeah, and
right.
and because of that, I didn't feel like any of the three Klansmen leaders, which sounds weird. I don't think they would have been moved either. So
I
to
totally
me that was like, all right, this is such like Pixar being like, and then the problem was resolved, and that's kind of a bummer.
I totally agree with you. Where when they finally cut back to the three leaders, I was surprised to see them crying and emotionally moved. I was expecting like, no, what the fuck? Oh, there's a bear in here? Oh, shit. Like, that's what I kind of expected to happen.
Mom is dead.
Yeah, I was totally not expecting to see them kind of tearing up. It's like, oh, you're telling us that this is emotional, but I'm not really feeling it. Anyway, please tell us the story. Yeah, Nick, tell us the story.
Brave. Andy, what's the quote again?
If you could change your fate, would you?
If you could change your fate, Tim, would you? Would you have picked a different person to do this synopsis?
Oh, God. Yes, I'm going to the bathroom. I can't do this.
We start at Merida's birthday party, which reminds me a lot of Andy's last birthday party, except I wasn't invited because Andy said I had other things to do. Merida gives her dad, Merida's dad gives her a bow for her birthday so she can learn to shoot. But her mom does not like that at all because, she tries to go shoot and she loses her first arrow immediately in the forest. When she goes to recover it, she spots a group of wisps, which her mother tells her are that the will of the wisp will lead you to your fate. And I go, do you mean destiny? And she's like, no, fate. And I'm like, that sounds negative. I would rather it just be destiny, right?
That sounds a little scary, yeah.
Like whenever you say like suffer your fate, you're
yeah,
like, I don't know,
negative connotation, yeah.
It's bad. Maybe don't follow them, and maybe for sure don't eat anything they give you. Then they all get attacked by a really big old demon bear named Mordu, and Fergus makes a stand. Mordu. So Eleanor and her daughter can ride away, and he dies. Just kidding. He's not dead. He just got his foot eaten off. Merida is now grown up and looking for her destiny. Some never find it, but there are some who are led. And then Merida is all grown up, and she has to toe the family line, even though her three little brothers can do whatever they want. Also, that black bear attack turned out pretty okay. Fergus has a cool little wooden foot now, and he's still kicking ass like he used to. Merida's mom is super tough on her since she's the princess and must strive for perfection. But every once in a while, there's a day where she gets to just go be a princess, and we see her riding around with Hamish, who I already can tell I'm going to like because he's going to be a great character in this. Spoilers, he was not. Yeah. And she's gotten way better at shooting arrows. She does that cool Forest Gauntlet thing where she rides around and shoots arrows at targets, just like the first 45 minutes of Zack Snyder's Justice League. And then she climbs the crown's tooth and drinks from the fire falls. And then she also hangs out with her horse. And I'm like, oh wow, we called those the Crown Tooth and Firefall. They're gonna come back to play. Nope, they don't.
So
they die.
This horse, right? Like I'm with you, Nick. I totally thought, here we go, sidekick character, gonna be fun, gonna whatever. No, not at all. However, I do love how much they just treated this horse like a dog, and it's something I wouldn't have noticed because like I never had dogs growing up. I now have a dog, so the way this horse's little ears moved, depending on what she was saying, and when they're on the top of the cliff and there's grass and the horse goes down and starts rolling around, I was like, this is awesome. I fucking love this horse.
When the horse is freaking out when she's following the wisps and it's just like, no, I don't want to fucking
go. Pissed me off so much. It's like, dude, do your job. Like, come here. Also, that's a Clydesdale, right? It's too big to actually ride in real life.
Big ass head. I love the way Disney and Pixar make their horses look just fucking strong ass features, strong skulls. Is this the sequence where we hear John Ratzenberger?
No, not yet. No. So right now, she comes back, tells her dad all about it, and he's
because we should have ranked the rats. Is what we should have done.
That would have been smart.
Fuck.
Of course, her mom does not like. We can't do it now. We could do it now, actually. I mean, Wally's gonna be number one. Actually, speaking parts of that. let's see. Of course, her mom is not excited that she's doing all this extracurricular activity, even though her dad secretly likes it. Her mom really hates that she uses weapons and knows how to fight, but her dad is all about that. And then the letters arrive. Eleanor gets letters from the heads of the other clans. They've all accepted Fergus's bid of betrothal for the princess. And Merida's like, "What are you talking about? I've never heard of this before in my life." And I'm like, "What do you got? You got that much going on?"
Weren't listening.
Yeah, it's like someone must have mentioned this to you before this date, right?
Yeah.
Teenagers, am I right, Joey?
Mm-hmm.
Kill them all.
Maybe I don't sign up on that one.
Yeah,
Right,
Joey,
Joey?
kill them all. Stupid middle parts and baggy jeans. This is the 90s all over again. What's happening? Fucking flannel comes back. I'm swallowing myself. They all
Did it ever leave?
No,
You're swallowing yourself. What does that mean?
I was gonna
Let's
say
just
swallow my
move
own
on.
flannel. I was gonna say swallow some flannel, but
I don't
then
like.
it's
I don't
just
like
nothing's
Nick. I don't
good.
like anything you're saying today. I'm being honest.
Yeah, let's just go.
Kevin wears a lot of flannel. Kevin, bring your flannel over to me. We'll have a little flannel party.
Stick it
We'll
in my
just
mouth.
wear flannel. Only flannel. Stick it in my mouth. Anyway, they all come to compete in the games for her hand in marriage, but Merida protests. "This is what we have been preparing you for your whole life," says Eleanor. She says, "No, this is what you've been preparing me for my whole life." And Eleanor's like, "Yes, that is exactly what I just said." And she's like, "What?" And she goes, "I want to go climb rocks and make bows and shit. I'm out." Eleanor tells Merida the legend of the prince who wanted to follow his own path and ended up bringing the whole kingdom to ruin, which is a very popular legend, apparently, and another one that Merida has never heard of. Apparently, she does not pay attention to anything that's being told her. Fergus tells Eleanor to practice talking to him because because Eleanor and her daughter are not conversing correctly. So he says, "Why don't you practice on me?" And this is a really cool scene, a great way to edit this, where she's practicing on him, and then Merida's talking to herself, but she's really talking to her mom. And then they cut the scene so that they're both talking to each other. And here I just say shout out to Emma Thompson, Kelly MacDonald, and Billy Connolly, who are all very, very well cast in this movie.
Yeah.
Of course, neither mother nor daughter are really listening to each other. So the next day, they prepare Merida for the suitors. Some good visual storytelling here, where Eleanor helps Merida get dressed in a very overly constraining dress that she can barely move in. And they also, the last bit of it is to contain her wild flowing hair. John Ratzenberger announces the arrival of the clans for the presentation of the suitors. We get Clan Macintosh, Clan MacGuffin, and Clan Dingwell. I'll be honest with you guys right now, I'm 100% Clan Dingwell fan. I love this guy. These cats have my kind of energy, Andy.
Wait,
and then
which one is the Lord Dingwall?
The wiry one with the little kid who's like kind of puddly.
The weirdo kid.
Yeah. I just like the dad, man. He's got crazy hair. He's skinny.
Oh, the one without a chin, the chinless people.
Yeah.
That was Hagrid. That was the voice, right?
Was that
Really?
Rory Coltrane?
Yeah,
That's
I have
awesome.
it pulled up.
Wow.
Somebody tells old man Dingwall he's full of shit, and a fight breaks out. Eleanor has to step in and be the adult. She breaks it down.
Wait, did they say shit?
No, I just.
No.
They just called him out on some stuff.
Wow.
He said my son's like done all this stuff, and everyone's like, that's bullshit, and then they all start fighting because they're all like lying about what their
his
children,
was really
kids
obscene.
have done.
Like his,
all of them were absurd.
Yeah.
These kids are like 15. They haven't done any of this shit.
And there's that one like super
cocky
fucking
guy.
shitty dude, the one who yells when he misses the arrow.
Yeah.
he's
throws
Fucking
a tantrum.
what a baby.
Yeah.
Roid
It's like,
rage.
that's attractive.
How funny was it they fully committed to the one that I don't know if he was speaking just gibberish or if they were like
Yeah, he was.
I think it's like Gaelic or something.
no.
The misunderstood dialect that young MacGuffin speaks is called Doric. It's spoken
Doric,
in
excuse me.
northeastern Scotland, including Kevin McKidd, the voice actor's hometown of Elgin.
Okay. But like the fact that they committed it to the entire time, I thought was really a choice, you
It
know?
was fun.
Really, just like the Water Boys.
In the
What's
Waterboy.
that character in the Water
Bobby
Boy?
Boucher's
Yeah.
like, yeah, that guy's great.
The one who plays Sean Hunter's dad in Boy Meets World.
And another thing is like the boys don't talk in this at all. The three kids. which
Yeah.
Blake
thought
Williams.
was
I think his
a
name is Blake
good
Williams,
call.
by the way. That's that actor's name. I think it's a
Sean
comic.
Hunter's
I'm gonna look
dad,
that up.
yeah.
Who? Blake
Blake?
Williams?
Let me just Google Sean
Williams.
Hunter's dad.
What an episode!
That is not
right,
him at all.
guys?
That is not him at all.
Remember when he
all
died?
right.
Jesus.
Oh my god.
What's the name of that
That's
actor?
tough.
I want to know what that guy's name is.
If you put Sean Hunter in today's day and age, he'd be a TikTok star. Got the hair part
Oh my
in the
gosh.
middle, got the baggy
100%.
clothes. Yeah.
A few little dances.
Yeah.
He'd be set.
I still have no
dances he
clue
said.
who Nick is looking up. I have
Oh, the guy that's like
IMDb.
in the
Oh,
Waterboy.
From the Water Boy.
Blake Clark, excuse me, that's his name.
there you go.
Farmer
Blank
Fran.
Clark.
That's what we're calling Fran from now on. All right. Anyway, Eleanor breaks it down to everyone by the rights of their heritage. Only the firstborn of each of the great leaders may compete for the hand of the princess. They must prove their worth by feats of strength or arms, which the princess herself will choose. Merida gets a very good idea. She pops up and screams, archery. I choose archery.
So I can show up. So I can show these fools up.
Fucking show up, bro.
Yeah.
Just like we showed up at dodgeball today. You know what I'm talking about?
That's great. Yeah. Nobody has any reference for what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It'll post it.
Hey, again, this is
Over
one
on
of those
Content
situations that in real life, it like just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, like she's like, oh, I know, I'll compete, and then I'll just win, and like whoever wins, that's it. It's like that's not how it works. You're like you would be disqualified for not being able to compete.
Why can't she compete? She's
I mean, look,
born.
Kevin, I think it's not to show and to actually be realistic with that I'm competing. It's more of just a statement and to say,
it's the statement
look, I'm
saying,
better
I
than
don't
all
want
these
this.
fucking guys. I don't need them.
Correct.
Like, let's fuck the old ways. Like, she's not actually expecting a judge to be like, you know what?
Not
you
actually
win,
going to
you are
marry
free.
herself.
Yeah.
Right. I would
She's
marry
just saying,
myself.
fuck this noise. Fuck
20
tradition.
years.
The archery competition kicks off, and all the competitors eat it, except for Clan Dingwall, who accidentally hits the target. To show his support, Old Man Dingwall shows his ass to everyone.
But great animation work on the arrow. Just like,
I just kind of goes cockeyed.
it's very good.
So much more than his ass. Like he shows everything.
Oh,
He
yeah.
shows
You
him.
saw balls.
Yeah,
Like that
he's
is a
balls
move
from
right
behind
there. He
on
gave
that
him
one.
all the goat.
Some back ball, some ass bush, all that stuff. Merida takes matters to her own hands and steps up to the plate.
Oh God, he simultaneously got us all, Nick.
That might be a record. Okay. Okay. Well, let me tell you about our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Babbel. For most of us, learning a second language in high school or college wasn't exactly a high point in our academic careers. I know that's true for me for sure. Spanish did not go well at all. Now, thanks to Babbel, the #1 selling language learning app, there's an addictively fun and easy way to learn a new language. Whether you'll be traveling abroad, connecting in a deeper way with family, or you just have some free time, Babbel teaches bite-sized language lessons that you'll actually use in the real world. Greg Miller's been doing this, trying to learn a little bit more French to be able to communicate with Jen and the family. Hopefully, soon he'll be able to go see him again, and they'll be able to talk, and he'll be able to show off all the words that he learned using Babbel. Babbel's 15-minute lessons make it the perfect way to learn a new language on the go. Babbel designs their courses with practical, real-world conversations in mind, things that you'll actually get to use in everyday life. That's key. Plus, Babbel's speech recognition technology helps you to improve your pronunciation and accent. Start your new language learning journey today with Babbel. Right now, when you purchase a 3-month Babbel subscription, you'll get an additional 3 months for free. That's 6 months for the price of 3. Just go to Babbel.com and use promo code MORNING. That's BABBEL.com, code MORNING. Babbel.com, code MORNING for an extra 3 months free. Language for life.
Might as well.
Don't repeat it. Don't repeat it. Don't repeat it. It happened. We're moving away. We're going to move away quickly and honorably. Isn't that right, Nick Scarpino?
I'm sorry, I apologize. All right. Yeah. So Merida takes matters into her own hands and steps up to the plate. She plants their clan flag, her family's flag, in the ground and tells everyone she'll be competing for her own her own damn hand. But that dress they have her in won't allow her to draw the bow back, so she hulks out and busts out of it. This is
awesome.
This is a
I
great
love
idea.
this.
Yeah.
No. Let it go. We can move on, Nick. We can move on.
Let him get there, dude. Let him get there. He'll get there.
Get the giggles out.
I'm done. It's hot here. Oh, man.
I can't do. My stomach hurts so bad.
I gotta say, I've known Nick for a good percentage of my life at this point. I've also looked up so many things in my life that I shouldn't have looked up. I have never even thought of the concept of ass bush.
That's how you know Tim's not Italian, you know?
Oh, man. Yeah, I know. Tim's just not looking at the right places.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll get it together. Also, Tim is Italian.
I don't know. so we can recover.
Not
from
enough.
this
He's more
one,
Irish.
just saying.
No
Good
hair
point.
on his butt. Just totally not. No hair. I've seen
That's
it. Yeah.
impressive.
None of
It really
so
is.
much of this is not true, but
That's
you know
not
what?
true at all. I've seen
What
it, but-
is and isn't true? You guys can decide for yourself. Nick, let's keep going with the
All right, I
plot of
apologize.
Brave. Disney
So-
Pixar's Brave.
There it is.
No more butt push talk. No more.
All right. She, of course, hits all 3 bullseyes with ease, the third of which splits the dingwall arrow right down the center, and it's really, really cool.
It's not possible.
But of course,
though.
it's
So.
the moment is cut short when Lady Eleanor stomps over and is not happy. She drags her daughter back into her room and they argue. Eleanor wants her to stop acting like a child. What she did could have started a war. Merida fires back. She wants her mother to stop trying to make her into something she isn't. The fight ends with Merida splitting their family tapestry in 2 and Eleanor throwing Merida's bow into the fire. And then once Merida stomps out, Lady Eleanor realizes she's gone a little too far and fishes the bow out of the fire. Merida takes off on her trusty steed, Hamish, who I swear to God, at this point, I'm like, cool, they're going to have a great couple scenes together. Nope, he just goes ahead and throws her when they
I'll tell
reach
you-
this like sacred area.
I'll tell you what I thought was going to happen. Like I was like, oh, Pixar's going to go for absolute tragedy here. The fire's going to, or the bow, she's going to try to fish out the bow, and then like fire's going to catch in the room, and her mom's going to die, and it's going to be like Merida's sort of like cross the bear. I thought they were going to go full tragedy with this shit.
Wow.
And I'm kind of sad they didn't. Honestly,
Yeah,
I would have
it's Pixar.
rather had
Come on, guys.
dead mom compared to like bear mom.
Well, you're going to get Bear Mom for the
And
next hour.
Nick, just to correct something, just because the comments will. The horse's name's Angus.
Oh, I thought it was Hamish.
That's one of the brothers.
Wow.
That's why. So I wrote Angus at first,
I was
and then someone called
confused.
someone Hamish, and now I have it as Hamish. So we're gonna find. I'll find and replace that in my brain, just like I did.
We'll see how that works.
The relatives from Mortal Kombat. I got it, guys.
Where every
I got
single
it.
time you kept making fun of them because you made a mistake.
Deal trap here. It was his great uncle's father's cobbler in Mortal Kombat.
Did anybody notice the way they shot the arrows was really fucking weird?
No.
Because it zoomed in on one time. So they had their hand here, the bow's coming out this way, and they put the arrow so it would go diagonal, which is fucking, that's not how you shoot an arrow. You want it straight, you want it on this side of the bow, not that side. Anyway,
I'm sure they did their research, Kevin.
I mean, you never shot a bow and arrow? Come on, Andy.
You have it on the side of your, as the same side as your hand, right?
You have it on the inside.
Yeah, it has to sit on this part of your hand, right? Yeah, you would have it here so you can aim down at like
Hold
Audio
on,
your
I was
listeners,
trying to-
Kevin is trying to
trying to-
emulate bow and arrow shots.
Figure it out. No,
Kevin's
fuck
a
that. The
archery
feather would hit.
class.
The feather would hit your hand, right here.
Yeah, that
the
always
feather
hits
would
your
hit.
hand.
No, it's on the
That's
other
why
side.
they wear the little leather glove.
No, it's not why you wear the little
So when
leather
it whips,
glove.
when the bow
you
hits
wear
it,
the
it-
little leather glove on your hand that holds the thing
you could
back.
grab cold-
so your
you
No,
can grab
fingers.
cold
Yeah.
soda.
It's so that when
Nerd
it's
shit.
so that
No, you
nerd
wear-
shit. Nerd shit with.
Another
it's so
glove
that
here.
when you
Another
it's so that
glove
when you
here.
go to bowl the ball, it keeps your wrist straight and it keeps your wrist straight down the aisle.
No, that's you wear the
Alley
glove
cat
on the
strike.
side is
I
so
used
that
to
it
you wear the
doesn't
pads
whip
on your
you.
knees so that when you skid around in the inline skates, you don't hurt your knees.
Exactly. Thank you.
I hate you.
Keep going, Nick. Yeah.
Ah, man. Merida spots a wisp who leads her to the old lady's woodworking shop that kind of reminds me of places in the mountains that have really good fudge. She can't understand why the wisp would lead her here until she spots a broom sweeping itself and a crow that can talk. And the old lady is a witch. She goes, I'm not a witch. There's just too many unsatisfied customers, which I think is a Yelp joke, and that's hilarious. The witch tells her to leave unless she buys something, so Merida agrees to take the whole lot, along with one spell to change her mom, which will change her fate.
Would you?
Merida, what's that?
No, I just said would you? Because you said change your feet. Would
I
you?
apologize. Would you?
Would
I'm
you?
going to stop you here, though, Nick, because I feel
Yeah.
like this is a perfect place to install the Pixar theory with the nanobiologist. There's a recurring theory that every single Pixar movie is connected in some way. Here's the big deep dive red string everywhere theory for where Brave fits into the big picture. Kev, I sent assets a picture. If you could bring that up, please.
Yeah, hold on. And also, yeah, you guys are right about the arrow. My bad. But Nick's really wrong about
What
the
about-
whip thing.
What about
Fuck.
bowling?
This one
What?
really establishes the power of emotions. Love is the only way to cure a powerful curse that clearly, if done correctly, could doom someone to the life of being an animal. Second, let's take a close look at the wood carver. Attached is one of her carvings. Kevin's about to bring it up now.
Give me a second.
The figure on one of the wood carvings looks very familiar. I'll let let it come up so you guys can see
I
who
know.
it is
Give me
yourselves.
1 second. It's
But isn't it strange that the
Barrett, you need
woodcarver's
to?
magic also revolves around doors to a degree? Opening one door leads to her shop, another leads to her witch's den. Now, who knows about the power of doors and the man in this picture?
Jesus Christ.
Oh.
Sully.
Oh,
Sullivan.
Oh,
P.
wow. Yeah.
Sullivan.
Sullivan P.
The
Johnson
answer
Sullivan.
is Boo. In this theory, it's believed that Boo's second encounter with Sully after he repairs her door basically takes over her life. It's what drives her to find her old friend, so much so she finds out the power of doors. But it takes her several hundred years into the past where she is trapped. This is where I don't really start believing this theory. I like
No,
it, but what
gets
the
good.
fuck?
Just keep going. You're doing great.
She continues to research the power of emotion and becomes a witch in that world, helping people as needed while not fully understanding what's going on, while still hoping to one day meet her old friend. In the grand scheme of things, Brave can be seen as a sequel to Monsters, Inc. for that reason, while also being one of the first entries of the entire Pixar theory universe.
I doubt it.
She's also
So wait.
obsessed with bears.
So you're saying
Like,
that
there's a weird
Boo is the witch?
Yeah.
When did Boo get all
How
these
does she get
magical
fucking
powers?
powers? Like,
She
Big
somehow
questions.
figured out how to go back in time with the door by accident. That was the fuck up. Got stuck there. Understands that science, like doors can be
Go far here.
seemingly magical. Indeed, go far. And because of that, she learns science or being magic. Yeah,
sure, makes sense.
it all makes sense, guys.
She just learns magic. Okay.
I mean, the thing is, like, when you look at their character designs, like, they have similar eye color. There's a couple things where it's like, it could be, or it could be a crock of shit. Back to the plot.
And it's a crock of shit because Boo would never go out like that.
Yeah.
The witch tells her to leave unless she's buying something. So Mary's like, I'll buy everything. I just need a spell that will change my
fucking
mom's
tight.
mind so that will change my fate. So Merida gives her her medallion as payment and asks if the witch has ever done something like this before. And she says, I have done this. And she tells her story of a man who wanted the same deal in exchange for the strength of 10 men. Quote, he made off with an especially attractive mahogany cheese board. Boo. Oh, I'm sorry. The witch's name is Boo, right? That makes sense. Boo conjures up a cake, which should take effect within a fortnight. But there's one thing about the spell she forgot to tell Merida. When Merida turns to ask her what it is, the witch and her houses are gone. Her
Worst,
house
dude. What a
is
terrible
gone.
feeling.
And that's the point where I'd be like this. You should probably hold off on this whole cake thing
Yeah.
until you
Yeah.
get that last
Yeah.
little bit piece of the puzzle. You know what I mean?
Also,
Also,
Meredith
maybe we
doesn't
should
ask
feed
any
this
questions.
to Angus and see what happens first, right? Like maybe don't feed this to your mother because you just met this witch 5 minutes ago. Anyway, no, straight home. Eleanor is overjoyed to find Merida home safe and sound, but a decision has to be made. She's still all about that wedding. So Merida gives her mother the cake, which tastes like crap and makes her sick. And at this point, I'd be like, wow, did I just kill my mom? Because she looks really worse for the
felt
wear.
right about it.
But instead, Merida just keeps asking her, how do you feel about the wedding now? How do you feel about the wedding now? Meanwhile, Eleanor just vomiting blood everywhere. Like,
Shut
this
up
is
with that
what is
question. I'm
happening
dying.
here. We have bigger fish to fry now. Namely,
Yeah.
I'm going to die. She takes her mom up to bed and she immediately turns into
I'm
a
becoming
bear.
a bear. I'm growing ass bush.
We need to retire it. Put it in a motion to retire the ash bush. I can't even say it.
Motion
Ash
denied.
bush.
I say we double down.
God
Andy,
no.
Nick,
Thank you, Kevin.
Second,
Help me out.
second,
Kind of
second.
Second, second.
ass bush. Shit. Okay.
Your ass bush, man. It's a ass bush family household. Let's see. She immediately turns into a bear, and this is the part where I was like, I did not see this coming. I had no idea this was about this. There you go. And then she says, "Oh, that Staffy witch gave me a gammy spell," and I was like, "Huh." I actually like that they kind of commit to the vernacular of the time and don't expect the audience to have any understanding what you're saying other than the general sentiment which gets across.
Yeah, context clues. You hear
Yeah, of
gammy, spell, it's a bad spell. Yeah.
Shitty spell, like goofy. Yeah. She says, I didn't ask for her to change you into a bear. I just wanted her to change you. And her mom's like, what did you do to me? We're
Her
killing
mom's
you.
like,
We're going to kill you and start over. We got three
That's what her mom
princes.
says.
Exactly.
Your
Downstairs,
mom turned
Fergus.
into Tim the Tap, or not Tim the Tap Man, Tim the Tool Man.
Tim the Tap Man Taylor. Fergus smells a bear downstairs and leads everyone on a hunt around the castle. It cuts to her mom yelling
Which
at her,
is
but you
also
can't understand what she's saying because she's a bear.
bullshit, right?
It's funny. What do you mean?
It's like he just fucking feels that a bear is near them.
Guys,
Well,
sense of smell.
Didn't he hear?
I mean, I think it was smell, but I could be. I don't know. I just put smell on there, so I'm just going with what I
It's
put.
also one of those things where, like, when I enter a room and if there's a TV on but the screen is black, I know
You
that
can
the
feel the
TV's
electricity.
on.
Yeah.
I could feel it. So I think he sort of had this like,
But that's not a
not
thing
only was the
anymore,
bear
right?
roaring kind of like beneath the chaos that was happening downstairs with that big old party, but I think he just felt the presence and
Wait,
kind of like,
Andy,
there's a bear somewhere here.
when you were young, would you watch TV when you're not allowed to, and then you'd turn it off when your parents got home, and then you'd be like, "Oh fuck, hold on," and then you swipe your hand all against it, get rid of the static, and
The static, yeah.
and then you'd be like, "Fine, now no one's gonna know, no one's gonna know." But then your parents come in,
That's the most
and they put their
scientific
hand on
I've
the
ever
top
felt.
of the back of it, and they're like, "It's still fucking warm, you lying piece
warm.
of shit."
I know. I never really had those interactions.
Evan's
me
mom
either.
would be like busting in the room, kicking the door down, like, "Are you watching fucking TV? Let me put my hand on it. This shit is 10 degrees too hot."
Let's see. It cuts over to
Tim
mother yelling.
acting
She's yelling,
like
but you
he's
can't
not
tell 'cause she's a
terrified of my mom
bear.
kicking the door in.
I
Oh
was
man,
terrified. Imagine her
That-
running in with that wooden spoon. Mm-mm.
dude, the feeling of the door closed, but you just knowing that the mom's gonna come through the door at any second is the most anxiety-inducing thing ever, and perfectly sums up my childhood.
Gotta say,
Anyway.
man, the difference between 0 volume and 1 volume, way too much. Way too much.
Yeah, I agree. Gradations. She tries to go back downstairs, but Merida knows that Fergus, if he finds her, will kill her. So Merida and her mom get separated. Merida finds her, the bear with the princess, and strikes a deal with her to do for the kids to help her get their mom out of the castle. They use theatricality and deception to do so, to throw the hunting party off their scent. And man, these kids really get creative with these roasted chickens. And you start to wonder, like, how does the dad let them do this? They sneak out the back door of the kitchen, and Merida tells the princes to help herself to anything they want as reward. Again, Merida, maybe before you can be responsible for yourself, you should stop leaving poison cakes all over the place. I digress. You got some stuff to learn, kiddo. The boys spot the witch's cake, of course, and head straight for it. Back in the forest, Merida can't find the witch's cabin, so her and her mother she lets her mother take the lead, and they end up finding it. When they look inside, it's empty. I love this scene. This is where they rocked the cauldron, and a pre-taped message, like a voicemail comes up and says hit. But instead of hitting 1 and 2 for the messages, it's poor witch violin. I was like, that's so creative. Of course she does. And she says, if you're the redheaded girl, pour in the red vial. And so Merida does so. And a message pops in that says, fate be changed, look inside, mend the bonds torn by pride. And then,
Because
also,
who knows
by the way,
what other shit this witch has been up to in other dimensions.
I want to know what the other options are after Merida's.
But
Like
I
how
mean,
many
that's
other
like-
poison cakes she's making.
This witch
That's
clearly
where you hear about. That's where like Mr. Incredible pops up too. You know. Or
So
something.
maybe we should, after this is all done and we have our arrows and stuff, we should go hunt this witch down because she's dangerous. I'm just putting it out there. She's out there turning people into bears. Do you imagine if left unchecked, everyone's going to be bears in the world?
It's only Monday, Nick. It's only Monday.
She gives her the other piece of the pie, or no pun intended. The effects of this will permanently take over permanently by the
That was a
second
bad pun.
sunrise, unless you remember these words: "Fate be changed, look inside, mend the bonds torn by pride." And she doesn't know what the hell. She's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Merida tries to use the rest of the vials to see if there's anything on them that she can help. It ends up blowing up the whole joint. So they take shelter that night. She makes a little shelter for her mom so they can get some sleep and sort this whole mess out in the morning. When they wake up, and before that, Merida has a dream of her mother comforting her when she was a young girl. It is very, very, very heartfelt and touching. She wakes up to find her mother has prepared breakfast for her, but the breakfast is comprised of poisonous berries and warm water. So Merida, when she's done throwing up, takes her down to the creek to catch some fish using her arrow. And this is the first kind of hint we get of her mother sort of seeing who her daughter really is. But then of course Merida kind of throws it back in her face after she catches it, and she says, "A princess shouldn't use weapons, right?" And it kind of like, you shouldn't trick your mom into eating poisonous cake, right? That's what I would have said if I were the mom.
Yeah.
Like, are we throwing things in each other's faces right now? Because like in the scale of shit that we're gonna bring up when someone's had a little too much of limoncello at Christmas Eve dinner, me trying to get you married off versus you almost turning me to a bear,
Forever.
not equal, not equal.
I'm a bear.
Okay.
All right. Jesus. And also, Kevin, I'm kind of surprised too that this is only 1,000 strands of hair.
Right? That's what I'm
Pearls.
saying. Like,
1,000
I
pearls
would
of hair.
have maybe. Yeah.
I kind of least 74 million. Like just on my own.
Damn, just with your eyeballs.
Yeah, just on my eyeballs. It looks real good. Looks so impressive.
Yeah, and I love the physics of it all too. It all looks amazing.
Yeah.
Let's see. Then let's see, we get a montage of them playing in the river and eating salmon. And you're like, okay, well, I guess they're starting to bond finally. It ends with her mother walking away without her crown, but Mara tries to stop her. Her mother almost tears her limb from limb, but snaps out of it, thankfully, at the last second. She says, you've changed like you were a bear on the inside. And her mom's like, yeah, I'm also, thanks to you, a bear on the outside. So again, 3 Christmases from now, mom's going to have a little hooch and fucking give it to you, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The wisps show up again to light the way. They spot a wisp and Eleanor chases it down like a cat with a laser pointer, but Meredith tells her to calm down, calms her, and then they light up to show the way. They reach the end of the trail and discover a burned down castle with the same crest as the one from the coin that the kid gave the witch in exchange for the cheese board. Meredith falls to the ceiling into the throne room and realizes that this is the remnants
Breaks
of the
her
castle.
back. She's stuck down there forever.
Snapped, and her mom's like, well, I have to eat you now. Otherwise, this meat will go to waste. And this is nature's calling.
Or else Mordu.
Mordi. Do it again, Andy. Mordi.
Mordu. I like it. So cute.
Of course,
This
she
makes
realizes
jaw come out so far when he says it.
Mordi. That's how you have to do it. That's how you have to do it. Ask
way.
anyone who's Scottish. That's how they talk. That's why they
Ask
all
him,
have
Joey.
lower jaw problems.
Mm-hmm.
They work through their lower jaws. Got to get a new one by the age of 20.
Yeah.
This is the throne room from the ruined castle, from the legend of the prince that wanted all that power. And she says the spell had happened here before. The prince who defied his family and brought ruin to their kingdom has become Mordu. In fact, he got the strength of 10 men, but in the form of a bear. And apparently, this witch, when she went to her grad school, studied just exclusively
bear.
in bear. That's it. Because she couldn't think of it. I mean, elephant, strength of 10 men.
Yeah.
Just put it
Like,
out there. Could have been anything.
I picture her at the high school reunion, like, oh, so any other spells? Oh, I did a bear. Like, oh, really? That's like your 4th one.
Did a bear in high school.
You're only doing bears now, or
Yeah.
exclusively? You got a contract? Like, nah, that's kind of all I know. But shout out to the Pixar designers for making Mordu look as disgusting and
Terrifying.
battle hardened as he is, because this dude has like no fur on his back, bunch of arrows just stuck in his back. His fucking like skin looks all beaten down and shit.
I don't understand why he had to also become immortal.
Immortal.
Yeah, immortal.
That's the curse, man. You gotta.
This
you
is
gotta,
the part of the movie that like really is lacking for me, of just all of the print stuff. I feel like is like kind of unnecessary. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think because he's not one of like the 4 clans that they're
I mean,
right?
but no,
Or he
was
is?
because there was 4
He's the
corners. So
but
it-
then
it's
like he
weird.
just disappears and doesn't
the clan
become
kept
like
going,
a
I
factor
guess.
anymore.
yeah,
I
But then
the
it's,
fourth
it's
clan
weird that
was
it's not
their
tied to
clan.
one of them, right?
Because
Right,
he
I
tried
mean-
to change his feet, you know.
he looked like the black haired dudes, right? Solely because he had black hair.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
My read on it was that there was the 4th clan, but then the Bear clan kind of like took the place of that 4th clan
The bear
after
clan.
it. They like the Meredith's family.
Yeah, I thought there were only 4 clans, and Meredith's family was the 4th. I thought the king was the 4th clan, but I thought this was like it was so long ago. It was legend. It's legend now because nobody really knows about it.
I mean, it was.
By the
right?
way,
It was,
the chessboard stuff I thought was really cool. Like having like her tell the story with the chess pieces when it started, I was like, this is the most trite thing ever. But when they put the balancing of it, the board, and it pulled one out and it all fell, I was like, okay, that was fucking sick.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Of course, they barely escape Mordor, and then she says, "Mend the bond that torn my pride." Mordur. Sorry.
Modoc.
Sauron. The witch gave us the answer. Mend the tapestry, she realizes, because she saw another tapestry that was broken in the throne room and realized it. They sneak back into the castle by ripping off a gate and discover all 4 clans at war in the dining hall. Meredith tells her mom she has to...
Like fun war.
I know, that's fun. That made it look kind of fun, right? Like, they're not really trying to hurt each other. They're
Food
just kinda,
fight
throwing
kind
shit at
of
each other. Yeah, the food fight.
stuff.
It's like my brother and I used to play forts, and one of us accidentally took a bucket of Legos and threw it through the wall. My parents were not
It was like
happy.
the paintball episode of Community, kind of.
but like
my
in
God,
reality, a bunch of them would have been dead, and it would have all been Meredith's fault, right? Her selfishness would have led.
Everyone
Yeah, I
should
don't
blame
think so.
Meredith.
I think at the end of the day, they all just really liked each other, and all they needed to do was have a quick combo. Could have been solved.
No, I mean, again, at the end of the day, the problem just fixes itself for convenience sakes, right?
No, someone does some charades. We're getting there right now. We're here right
One
now.
does some charades.
Meredith tells
What
her,
a
"Listen, you
great way
can't
to
go in there."
explain what happens.
She says, "Listen, you can't go in there because they're going to spot you, and if they see a bear, they're going to kill you." So Eleanor tells her the responsibility is now on her shoulders. Meredith walks into the dining hall and lays down the law as Eleanor sneaks around the back to the staircase. Macintosh turns and spots her, but she freezes, pretending to be a stuffed bear, and I giggle. Merida makes an impassioned speech telling everyone that the clans, helped by her mom, was doing like the charades.
I laughed so hard when like it wasn't all the other random charades that she was doing, but just like where she looks at Merida and she's like go fucking like do that shit. It's just the way she waved her hand. I was like, oh, it's freaking cute. It's adorable. But
cute.
Also, how do you not smell the bear in there?
There's a lot of bear. Well, because he has to have a lot of
bear smell?
man in there.
Oh,
And there's a lot of man
mead.
that hasn't probably showered ever. And so, and they're wearing kilts too. So it's all just smells just
Yeah,
coming out
sure,
of
but
everywhere.
but King, Daddy King, was able to smell the bear upstairs. How do you not smell it in
Right.
the own room you're in?
Do you know that it's a clean bear?
That night. Well, they were in the river
That's
earlier
true.
that day.
Yeah,
They
but
cleaned
so
off.
yeah, that's a good thing, right? That's gonna help the bear smell less or
Good
more.
point. That's a good
I would
point.
imagine so. But they also eat salmon, so it's probably an overwhelming smell of salmon.
Delicious.
I also want to point out in this sequence,
Joey's gone.
Joey's
I want to
Joey's
point out
back.
in this
That
sequence
was
just
one step too far.
how completely out of place that one giant hulking of a man looks amongst the group of people, where they all look so
Her dad is also
cartoonishly.
huge.
No. I'm talking about the group
No, yeah,
of people with the shitty little blonde
Oh,
kid
that one
shot the
homie
arrow
who's
well.
like huge.
Yeah, but they have the one dude in the group that looks like he's
Yeah.
in the wrong movie.
Well, he was also standing in the wrong spot. It's just like Merida was kind of like, all right, like I'm feeling this one.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, it's the guy behind him. It's like, okay, well, why was he standing there?
One of these
Like-
chinless kids,
Know your fucking place.
These is chinless kids.
right? Like there's the
That is
chinless family.
true.
That was like their deal.
Yeah,
That was the
their-
Dingwall.
Do you think
man.
Joey's
I
coming back, or
sympathize.
should I prep
Nah,
another-
She's gone.
That's a
Set
good
up.
question.
While you do that, I'll continue. I know how one selfish act can turn a kingdom. Her mom stops to listen to her daughter and then helps her out. She says she wants to she reunites all the clans by reminding them that they once risked everything for each other. It was an alliance forged in bravery and friendship. She says, but I was selfish, and I know I must mend our bond. Merida decides to do what's right, but her mother stops her and pantomimes her for her to break tradition. She pantomimes, she's like, charades. My mother's, the queen feels that in her heart, that would be free to write. We should be free to write our own story, follow our hearts, and find love in our own time. And all the other kids are like, yeah, that sounds cool. I like that. Merida turns the question to the Lord: should the young people get to choose their own fate? And all the kids are like, agree. So the Lords all agree, and everything's fine. And then one of the Dinwalds almost discovers Eleanor, but Merida makes them think fast, and points them all down to the king's private reserve of ale. And they all go down and get hammered. They head up to the tapestry, but Eleanor,
hey, get the small glasses.
yeah, get them the small
That's
glasses.
very funny.
Small glasses.
Good touch.
My private shit. They head up to Merida's room where the tapestry is, but Eleanor turns back into a bear. To make matters worse, Fergus discovers Eleanor's torn clothes and goes on a warpath. He barges in and discovers Eleanor there with Merida and immediately springs into action. Merida gets cut in the process, and she tries to scream to her dad to explain that it's her mother, but he doesn't believe her. Eleanor splits with the rest of the clan on her tail while Merida tries to convince her father of the truth. But Fergus is just enraged, so he locks her in the room and joins the hunt and tells Maud the maid to not let her out. Now, Maud, not the brightest bulb on the strand here, right? And but I mean, even if she were a super genius, I don't think she could ever prepare for what comes next. Merida calls for help, and luckily the princes heed that call. Unluckily, they've all turned into cute little fluffy bears, and it doesn't
So
seem to bother
cute.
them at all.
They're
They're so cute.
10 out of 10 design.
They chase Maud into the kitchen, and then they somehow become the aliens from Galaxy Quest and eat her face off. And then one of them dives into her bosom to get the key.
What a fantastically animated thing. The whole setup
graphic
of
though,
the
right?
her counting the 1, 2, and it cuts and he's just up there and
He's
he
up
does
there.
the beautiful like
Swan dive.
preparing to
Swan dive.
Oh my god, great.
Let's see.
And I love that the next scene you see of him is just the key. like
Yeah.
the motion
making,
of the
making the little
animation
cub
so good.
sounds too.
Oh man.
Merida rides off after her mother with the tapestry, and as she starts mending it as she's going, and her brothers are also in tow. The hunting party corners Eleanor at the Stonehenge site. Merida finishes mending the tapestry, and the wisps reappear to show her the way to Mordu. The way as Mordu appears in the shadows behind her. Fergus raises his sword to finish off Eleanor, but Merida shoots an arrow and knocks that sword right out of his hand. And she rolls in with a sword of her own and defends her mother. The boys tackle Fergus, and he starts to get the picture, but he's like, I don't know what the hell's going on. Of course, the scene is interrupted when Mordu attacks. Eleanor breaks free to defend her family, and she and Mordu duke it out. Eleanor spots a weak point, one of the stone statues, and he uses it to bring that damn thing down on Mordu,
Good
freeing
boss fight mechanic right there.
It's really cool. Of course, kills the beast and frees the soul inside from his imprisoned spell. The second sunrise peeks over the horizon, and Merida covers her mom with a tapestry, but nothing happens. Eleanor's eyes go full bare, and Merida breaks down in tears and hugs her mom. And now, Kevin, I want a pet bear. She says,
They're very
quote,
dangerous. You can't have one.
Yeah, but you keep them small. Don't feed them that much.
You can't have it.
Don't feed them that much.
I
Even
do
if
like
it's
though
small
when the ghost
And then they're just a hungry
Prince-
bear, Nick.
That
when the
back
ghost
is
prince
about
pops out, and he just kind of like little nod, like, why were you mean? Why are you nice now?
Well, because his mind went full
I
bear.
guess he's full bear. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
and
Hayden
then he
Christensen,
released-
you know?
Yeah, Sam.
Oh, got it.
Just
Okay.
think of it that way.
She says, quote, you've
I
always
want to
been there
say
for me.
the moment of the bear mom's eyes going from mom to just black
Bear.
like bear was so powerful just at the wrong moment, and it wasn't set
was
up in a way
bullshit.
that like made you feel. And I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
that could have been fucking special. Like that could have been
Yeah.
like Pixar levels of shit, but it was just kind of like, oh, okay, that was a nice touch.
She tells her mom, you've always been there for me. You've never given up on me. I just want you back. When the sun hits the tapestry, Eleanor changes back to her human form and hugs her daughter. But the little princess, stays bears forever. The end. JK, Eleanor has a new rogue streak in her hair. Overjoyed, Merida tells her that she's changed, and she replies, we both have. Then,
She's had the rogue
Everyone.
streak.
Yeah, she had it the
Did she?
entire time.
It was
Yeah.
just more noticeable when her hair
Huh?
was down, but she had
My
it the whole
apologies.
movie, which I thought was a
That was one thing
Touch.
as well, Nick. That I noticed of like, wait, did she have that the whole time? Or
I
why
thought
they-
that's what she was referring
This
to. But
seems
now
like
that makes
it's
sense. She
very
changed
like
back in.
accentuated or something.
Yeah. Well, my mistake. Apparently, when she says you've changed, she was referring to the fact that she is no longer a giant man-eating bear. Eleanor, let's see. That makes more sense. Everyone realizes everyone is naked, and they head home to make a new tapestry that features Merida and her bear mom. The clans leave with fond farewells, and the little princess hitch a ride on one of the boats, and Fergus goes nuts. He's like, why? Why do these kids torture me? So Merida and her mom ride through the forest together one more time as Merida narrates the wrap-up. Quote, there are those who say fate is something beyond our command, but I know better. Our fate lives within us. You only have to be brave enough to see it. That's it.
that's
Thin.
it.
Thin.
I like it. Let's get straight to it, Andy.
7 syllables in the middle. You need 5 for the first and last line. If you're not poetic, no need to fret it. Haikus don't need to rhyme. Haiku in review. Haiku in review.
Andrew Feisner writes into patreon.com/kindafunny, just like you can, to write your review in haiku form. And he says, a witch in a hut, a girl with her hunting bow, and 3 is a crow.
Oh, I like that.
Then we got.
I don't know what it means.
I don't
Yeah,
either.
either.
But,
It sounds
yeah.
poetic and
3
crazy.
is a
Three's a
crow.
crow.
Zayd Wilson says, I think I preferred the Temple Run knockoff game over the movie.
Oh, wow.
There's something. There was a lot of those in 2012, I imagine.
Oh, my gosh.
Grant
Yeah.
Burton. I'm Grant Burton.
Grant
says,
Burton.
Brave is short but sweet, but not the best Pixar treat. Her mom needs some Veet. What's Veet?
Okay.
Veet
Beats
It's like
for
a
hair
hair
removal.
removal.
Oh.
Oh, that's funny.
funny.
Do you
She's a
think-
bear.
the ass
Also, do you
bush.
think?
Oh, no.
Point of clarification: you cannot use it on your back balls or ass bush. You
Oh.
cannot; those are too sensitive.
Oh, man, that is.
Do you
I
think
hated
he
that.
meant-
Hold on. Stop. Everyone
3 is
stop.
a crowd, not 3 is a crow. Not that that makes
Oh.
That
much
doesn't
more
make-
sense.
That doesn't make a
That's-
lot of sense.
Joey, that's definitely what it means.
Can you read it
Gotcha.
again with that now, please?
No, okay, I will. Hold on. Yes. A witch in a hut, a girl with her hunting bow, and 3 is a crowd. No, I
No,
don't
it's
know.
dumb.
Three's a
Doesn't
crow.
really make
No.
sense.
Yeah.
There's-
Andy, what made you laugh really hard? I want to make sure it's known.
Just back balls.
Back balls, yes. Back balls.
No, he meant
of
back,
course.
comma, balls.
I don't know, man.
Right?
Miscellaneous writes in with the plot in haiku. Neglecting her rule. Princess training is cruel, but her dad seems cool. Merida's campaign, wanting freedom to remain, splits arrow in twain.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Ah,
The wisp
that's
led her
cool.
there.
The thesaurus.
The wisps led her there. Crafty witch with spells to spare. Now her mom's a bear. Answer to the curse. Must get back before it's worse. Mend bond to reverse. Save them from more due. A connection made anew. Changed her fate. Would you?
Wow.
It's really good.
Miscellaneous.
Great.
God damn.
But they don't say
would
would you, they say would ye.
Would ye?
So-
Yeah, that
Yeah,
would have been
but
that would have been extra.
we're
But
in
I got to
America.
give the shout out to the use of
That
the
was
word
amazing.
twain, and also to the second part of the haiku
Stanza.
where you get the 7 syllables. Crafty witch with spells to spare. Like that is a good use of syllables. There's
Yeah.
a lot of words, a lot of
That's
things
good.
being said there. So
That's
good for
good.
you. One of my favorites for sure. Now it's time for Ragu Bagu.
Ragu. Bagu. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Rad Guys Talk Bad Guys here for Pixar in Review. The list is long, so we'll get right to it. Number 1, Lotsa. Number 2, Prospecta Al. Number 3, Newswater and Randall. Number 4, Hopper. Number 5, Syndro. Number 6, Months and the Dogs. Number 7, Ego and Skinner. Number 8, Darla and the Barracuda. Number 9, Woody and Sid. Number 10, Gabby. Number 11, Otto from Wall-E. Number 12, Chick and Hubris from Cars. And number 13, Axelrod and the Lemons. Where do we want to put? Jeez. I don't know that there is a
More
bad
dude.
It's
guy
the
here.
witch. It's the witch. You know,
The witch isn't a bad guy.
felt like a
Weird
bad
poison
guy.
cake
It's
that
a bad-
turned her mom into a bear. I
Yeah.
think that's
I'll say
There's
the
some
bad guy.
level.
We'll say the witch and Mordu. We'll just say that because at this point you meet that witch, you're like, you did me a solid, but I'm also gonna. We have to kill you. We have to burn you.
Yeah, they definitely
Right?
killed her after this. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they went and hunted her down and killed her.
Yeah.
Right.
Damn, I don't know, man. I feel like pretty low.
Yeah, second to
I would
last.
say
I'd say.
last.
I don't know. I think.
My thing is, I'm not going to go that low because I thought the final fight was really cool, and I thought that the bad guy's setup, while he didn't do anything necessarily like that interesting as a bad guy, like the whole premise of the lore and the world that they built, he did do a lot of bad things, and
Yeah,
it
you know
adds
what,
up to
Tim?
me.
I
I
think
guess he ate the dad's
anticip-
leg.
I think the
that
anticipation
didn't even kill the
of-
dad. That didn't even kill the dad. If I just my add.
Little snack.
I think the anticipation of that fight is neat because we kind of know that it's coming, and then you
They delivered.
see the mom and bear run away or whatever, and then you kind of get that glimpse of Mordu, and he's all in shadow, and you're like, oh shit, it's about to go down. And when he does pop in, yeah, it is kind of frightening. Nick, what's fourth to last?
Fourth to last is Woody and Sid from Toy Story 1 is number 9. Number 10 is Gabby. Number 11 is Otto from Wall-E. Number 12 is Chicken Hubris from Cars. Number 13 is Axelrod and Lemons from Cars 2.
I would put
I'm
this
going-
third to last.
I would go higher. I would say under the Ratatouille bad guys, above the Finding Nemo bad guys.
Wow.
I feel like third to last. I
Wow.
could see that happening.
It's third to last above both of the Cars baddies.
Bad guys? Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
Then
I just feel like there's
accept
no
that
real
position.
motivation for the bad guy. There's more dudes just a bear. He's mad.
Yeah.
He wants to go kill
Just a
people.
bear.
I don't think there's any real like
Just fucked up for
dimension to
bears.
this. I think the real bad guy of this is miscommunication, right? It's both people's inability. The mother and the daughter are both
The witch definitely
the
did it on
bad guys
purpose,
in
though,
this.
right?
Well, the witch was just making her cake, man. You go to fucking La Boulange up here in the city, and you get a freaking
Where are you going
a
with this?
chocolate croissant, and it makes you squeegee. Like it's not their fault. It's your fault
Yeah,
for not being
that's
able to take all that butter.
Yeah, but
in
if
the
it makes
system.
you into a bear, it's their fault.
yeah,
No,
that's
I
true.
mean
Like,
the
that's
warning
100%
was
true.
the warning was coming. The warning was coming, and then she
Yeah,
peaced
and
out,
she
but
forgot it. That's why
Look,
she's not good
Merida,
at being
read-
a fucking wizard.
Read
It's really
fucking read any child's story. You know there's
Yeah.
a catch. Rule number
It's
wish
the
number 3,
genie
don't
thing.
fuck
Don't
with
fuck
me.
with me. Don't
Sure,
fuck with
sure,
me.
man.
she wasn't
Meredith should've
specific enough in her
asked.
request.
All right,
Meredith
let's do a
should
show of
ask
hands.
her
Who
anyway.
thinks?
Meredith, by the way.
Meredith 100% should have asked.
Like it's the name's close enough, all right? You can't get me on this one.
Who thinks Mordu and the witch are better than should be higher than Axelrod and Lemons? Raise your hand.
Yeah.
3 people, 4 people. Okay. Who thinks Chick and Hubris from Cars? Yeah, Cars. 3 people. Andy, Joey, Tim. Gabby from Toy Story 4. I'm sorry, Otto from Wall-E. Sorry. And there you go. They're going to go at number 12.
Now it is time to rank the Pixar universe. Currently, number 1, we have number 1, Up. Number 2, Monsters Inc. Number 3, Finding Nemo. Number 4, The Incredibles. Number 5, Wall-E. Number 6, Toy Story 3. Number 7, Toy Story 2. Number 8, Toy Story 4. Number 9, Toy Story. Number 10, Ratatouille. Number 11, Cars. Number 12, A Bug's Life. And number 13, Cars 2. Who wants to start this off? The
I would like
Brave.
to start it off, but
Go
Andy
for it, Kevin.
raised his hand. Okay. I think that this should go number 13. I feel like it tries to do a lot of things that have worked in other movies, and it doesn't execute them quite right. It's pretty looking, but I mean that's true for most of these movies, you know.
Mm-hmm. Andy,
I totally agree. I think it goes number 13 underneath A Bug's Life. I think the cast and silly characters of A Bug's Life, I'd have way more fun, and I would rather watch that any other day over Brave. I think Brave is an above average, really good movie, but compared to the rest of the Pixar movies, I just don't think it compares.
I third
no,
this.
wow.
I do. I think it was Tim that said it earlier. Like, it's a good movie. It's not necessarily like a good Pixar movie in comparison to some of the other stuff that we have on this list. I agree that I think Bug's Life story and cast of characters is a lot stronger and just more fun to watch. But it's definitely better than Cars 2.
Nick.
I think it should go right above Wall-E.
You're crazy.
I'm just joking. I'm fucking with you guys. I think it should go right above Cars 2. I think everyone's right in the right spot. I think it's better than Cars 2, but I don't think it beats The Bug's Life.
Wow.
I am right there with you. Yeah, number 13, second to last, right above Cars 2. And again, these Pixar movies, I think at this point, with the exception of Cars 2, these are all really good movies, and it goes up to from really good to like really fucking great. And Cars 2 was the one that's like, it's okay, you know. So hopefully we keep up the more positive side of this as opposed to the negative.
Sure.
I'm not going to repeat the rankings. You guys get it. Number 12 is A Bug's Life. Number 13 is Brave, and number 14 is now Cars 2. This week, actually, we're returning with the Ninja Turtles 3, often subtitled incorrectly as Turtles in Time. Why, Joey? No future spoilers. I can't tell you.
I keep calling him that, Joey. I keep calling him that.
Oh no.
Turn into watchmakers.
But yeah, exactly. You never would see it coming. But then next week we'll return with Pixar in review with, if I remember correctly, Monsters University.
I've never seen that one.
Of the third sequel that we're getting in the Pixar universe so far. But until then, I love you all. Goodbye.